Hey, what's up guys? This is probably not maybe your favorite YouTuber here. Yes, I am very tired. This week I originally was going to upload footage of me having just read Tomodachi Game Chapter 121. Obviously that came out in February. I filmed my reaction to it, and then I put it on my laptop and then just never got around to actually making that into an actual video. And by that I mean I just never uploaded it to YouTube. I was going to upload the footage this week, but that footage is apparently not on this plane of existence anymore. I have looked on my laptop, I have looked on my hard drives.
See, here I am on the hard drive. See, it goes 8866, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, and then it goes to 8970. So, like, I assume there's just a big gap there, but I don't think I filmed 100 clips in February of 2024. But there are some other gaps here, so I don't know. What's this nice video? Maybe you can look at that. But they're entertained. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I have looked on my video cameras, and I will briefly explain why I think that footage is gone. If you don't care, skip ahead 60 seconds. This is the video camera that I used to use before this one that I'm filming with right now. But as you can see, when I try to use it, it just flat out tells me that there's nothing, that it just can't do it. Usually it only does that when it's flat out of room. So I deleted a significant amount of footage to try and prove that it did have room. And of course that footage probably included me talking about Tomodachi Game Chapter 121. And so I deleted quite a significant amount of footage on there, and I think the problem is not that it's out of room, but that it's out of labels. I think I've already filmed like 10,000 clips with it probably over the many years that I've had it. So now it's looping back to 0000 and it doesn't know how to do that. But I'm not deleting all of the footage on it, so I just decided to get a new video camera instead.
I just picked up my cell phone. See, here's the original camera, and then here's the new camera. So see, like, it's kind of different, and like the setup is different, the buttons are different, the menu is different. Everything's just different.
Yeah, so for whatever reason that footage is just gone. Don't know where it is. Probably just never made it to my computer, or never made it to a hard drive, or I deleted it from my laptop thinking it was on the hard drive and it wasn't on the hard drive. I don't know. 'Tis the curse of filming so much stuff, is that you quickly lose track of it. But I love filming stuff. Anyway, so instead, since I can't really mimic what I thought of Tomodachi Game Chapter 121, and since my thoughts and speculations on what was going to happen is kind of redundant at this point, considering that I know what has happened, I'm just going to talk about my thoughts on Tomodachi Game as a manga in general, hopefully over the course of not too much time. Now, I found Tomodachi Game because I was desperately looking for something to quench the desire to find something like Liar Game, because my history with manga, actually, I might as well grab them. For some reason, I feel like Death Note Volume 1 is cursed, because every time that I touch Death Note Volume 1, something bad happens. But so far, my manga collection, very, very small, consists of Death Note Volume 1 Black Edition, Alice in Borderland Volume 1, and Death Note Volume 6 Black Edition, purely because I felt I might struggle to find them in stores. Something's just very satisfying about going to an actual bookstore and purchasing a physical book of some kind. I don't believe that this would really count as manga, but I do also have Liar Game. Never had an official English release for the manga, but show, there's subtitles. I have seasons 1, season 2, and the final stage. I do plan to get Reborn and the South Korean version as well. Just haven't gotten around to that. I loved it. Now, this all started when I was just going onto YouTube, and I found a good old channel called Cinema Summary, which has since been changed to How to Beat, and I saw their video on Alice in Borderland. Alice in Borderland, right? Yeah. That was the first time in a very long time that I actually second-guessed myself on the title. But anyway, so it was the pandemic. I was desperately looking for videos to watch, so I watched it. And I will kid you not, the books won't stack up right. There we go. The moment I saw those two different doors, they enter the room, and I see a white door and a black door. And the voice on the YouTube channel says, one of these doors says life, and the other one says death. I'm going to move my video camera because I want to stand up. And as soon as I saw that image, I was instantly on board with it. I like, there was something inside of me that really wanted to experience those mind games. And all that it needed was that tiny little push of actually seeing it. And once I saw it, I knew I wanted to see more. So I stopped the YouTube video, went to Netflix, and watched all of it. And by that I mean all of the first season, because that was all that was out by that point. I watched episodes 1 through 6 in one go. And then I got tired and I had to go to sleep for the night. I woke up and the very first thing I did, I think before I even had breakfast, was watch episodes 7 and 8. I love the show that much. Episode 6 is kind of dumb because there's no games in it. Episode 5 also kind of has no games in it, except for that montage, which kind of cancels out because there's so many in that montage. Well, so many, there's 4. But, yeah. I'm getting to Tomodachi Game, don't worry. I'm just explaining my little origin of everything. So yeah, I watched Alice in Borderland Season 1, and I got sick of waiting for Season 2, so I just picked up the manga. I didn't actually read all of the first half of the manga. I read enough to know that the Three of Clubs game, what it is, kind of, and that's clearly different from the Three of Clubs game that we got on the show. And also the other things, like the Five of Spades game, some of the elements in that is different. And, yeah. And then I read through Season 2, and I even wrote a fan fiction for the King of Hearts on Reddit. Maybe I'll read that someday. But yeah, and people liked it. Maybe I should have put it on some actual... If anyone knows some actual website where I can publish my stories, let me know, because I've been meaning to do that for a little bit. Not just fan fiction, like other stuff that I'm making too. But anyway, yeah. So I read Alice in Borderland, and I watched Season 2 when it came out, and by then I kind of moved on to other things like Liar Game. But I really appreciated Season 2 for what it was. I had my standards at a certain level, and I would say that those standards were met. Rather nice and snuggy. What's the word? Snug. You know what I'm saying, right? It fit. The standards were met, kind of. I think. I don't know if I was underwhelmed or overwhelmed. I just kind of watched it and I was just like, good job. Then Season 3 got announced and I lost my mind, and I'm very excited, and the one thing that I'm hoping is that it doesn't adapt Alice on Border Road. Anything else. Just don't adapt Alice on Border Road. That sucks. So, anyway. Then I read Liar Game, obviously. I found it because I was reading reviews of Alice in Borderland, and one of the reviews said, if you're looking, it was making fun of Alice in Borderland. It was saying, like, there are like 5 chapters in a row where it's the exact same cliffhanger. They're playing the same game, they've lost, and Arisu all of a sudden says, I know how to beat this, and that's the same cliffhanger. And I chuckled when I read that, because I was like, yeah, you're right, you're probably thinking of the King of Clubs game. And then it said, if you're looking for complex mind games like Liar Game, maybe look somewhere else. What, Liar Game? What is that? I pick up Liar Game, and at first I was like, well, these games don't result in the end of human life, so maybe I won't be that interested in it, which is quite a morbid thought in any other scenario. But I read through it and I loved it. I read it over the course of 8 months. I took several different breaks, and by the time I was done, I cannot express how much I loved it once I was done. And like all the different metaphors for being nice to people and forgiving people even after they've done so much cruelty. You could ask anyone who knew me from like during the year of 2022 and 2023 even, and they will just tell you how much I was obsessed with Liar Game, and I would bring it up all the time. Then I read Tomodachi Game, and I like Tomodachi Game. Tomodachi Game was on the list. There's tons of lists online for this is what you read if you like Liar Game. This is what you read if you like gambling manga, which is a good way to get people to question your life choices that you're reading gambling manga. But and Tomodachi Game was always on there. It was often referred to as Friends Game, which made it sound a lot more lame than Tomodachi Game. I eventually watched the anime. I just purchased season 1 off YouTube and watched like up to about halfway through the hide and seek game, and then for whatever reason I just stopped watching it, picked up the manga and just started reading it from there, and I liked it. Yeah, it was good. And I honestly don't see why Yuichi in the smart character debate community thing, Yuichi's always like right at the bottom, just beating someone called Yumiko from a manga called Kakegurui that I haven't gotten around to reading it yet, but I'm planning to read it at some point. And
I think Yuichi kind of surpasses Akiyama sometimes, because Akiyama has excellent acting skills, manipulates people, comes up with good strategic ideas. Yuichi does all that too, and also comes with the advantage of basically being a psychopath and doing whatever he wants to win, no matter how much he's hurting people. So I think Yuichi kind of has an edge on Akiyama there. But then again, the Doctor did beat Rick in a death battle. I was always happy about that. I honestly did not expect that. In fact, here's my reaction to the Doctor beating Rick in a death battle. Doctor won? Yes! Doctor wins! Doctor wins! Wins! Yeah, that footage has been staying on my laptop for quite some time. I got this new video camera in March, and I stopped using that old video camera in January. So pretty much all the footage that's missing is stuff that I filmed in February. This is quite an unfortunate month, considering that's when the chapter came out, that I had footage of me reacting to it. Obviously, now, thing is that there's a Discord server that I'm on. Very long story. The point is that the people on there think I'm stupid. Or a lot of people there think like I'm a tiny little kid. Because of all sorts of reasons. But the main point is that they don't think the Tomodachi game is for adults. Even though it obviously is. There is obviously something that happens at the end of the Friend Sin trial that is definitely not for kids. And I'm not even going to say what it is, because I feel like if I say it, YouTube might come and kick my butt and say, hey, this is way too inappropriate for YouTube. I'm not sure how YouTube works these days. But anyway, the point is that Yuichi does something that's pretty unforgivable to win the game. But when I'm trying to convince people that Tomodachi game is not for children, usually I just bring that up, and then their facial expressions completely change, and they're like, oh, okay, it's for adults. Because I remember I was trying to explain to the people on the Discord server about the prison game, and they just flat out said, oh wow, this seems like they're trying to teach kids what prison life is like. Tomodachi game is not for children. Do not give it to young children. That's a terrible idea. Tomodachi game is a manga about a guy named Yuichi who's like still in high school. I think he's like 17 or whatever. And he has 4 friends that he hangs out with often. But then it turns out the first half is like so detached from the second half that it's really difficult for me to even remember what it was about at the beginning. Yuichi has 4 friends in high school, some money is stolen, and then they all get kidnapped, and then they have to play these series of games that will test their friendship, where they can hopefully get enough money to pay off the debt of whoever stole the money, because apparently whoever stole the money is one of the 5, but they won't admit who it is, so they have to trust their friends and play these games. And it starts off with that premise, and it sounds very kid-friendly, but then at the end of chapter 1 or episode 1, Yuichi drops a kind of a bit of a wham line that is very not kid-friendly, and you're like, oh, okay, this is not a kid's show, this is not a kid's manga. But yeah, and then it goes on, and honestly it's really good, and it's such a shame that every single live-action movie or show or anime that was made to adapt this always like starts at the beginning and then gets to like the end of the hide and seek game or right before the Friend Sin trial and then just stops and is cancelled, and all that you got for the rest of the games is the manga. And what happens after that, it gets really good, you know? Like, it gets really intense, really amazing. The all-bet gambling part, favorite arc. I know the island arc is great too. Bro, 1K was in that barn, whatever it was. Like, there's that female character who is all like, oh, men are so easy to manipulate, right? And then she opens the door and then Kay's just sitting there like, I heard every single thought in your head. I literally dropped my phone, dropped my phone safely and pumped my fist in the air and was shouting like, yeah! It was amazing. I loved it. But the all-bet gambling is literally like my testament for why Yuichi is way more smarter than people think he is. Because it's essentially, Yuichi came up with how to beat the game. He planned out everyone's moves. He planned out his own moves right from the beginning. And it was all about tricking everybody into thinking that he didn't know what he was doing until the very end, where it's obvious that he did know what he was doing the whole time. I blame the prison game for Yuichi seeming dumb,
because it's all dependent on the fact that he and Kay just so happened to find the keys and make fake copies somehow, and find out that each other probably had the keys, and also that each other was willing to cooperate and work towards a common goal, and then also just somehow trust that no one was going to vote them out while they collectively eliminate everybody until they just decide, frick it, we're done, and then escape. Yuichi says, oh, you're unsavable. You're beyond saving. You are a horrible person. I personally think that Yuichi just thought he shouldn't test his luck anymore and decided to bail out of there. I don't know, it made Kay bail out at the same time, too. Honestly, I should probably reread that arc again, because I just remember when I got to the end of it, I was like, wait, but Yuichi and Kay just found the keys by luck? So, like, the game would have been significantly more difficult for them if they didn't find the keys. If you haven't read this manga, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But if you are, like, if you haven't read the manga and you're still watching this for whatever reason, I hope that me talking about this shows how enthusiastic I am about it and how complex it is. Because the mind games that they do play are great. If you like Liar Game, you will enjoy this. If you like Yasogwi, the Yasogwi fan base is all about taking anything that's similar to Yasogwi and saying, Yasogwi is better than this, Yasogwi negs this. If you like Yasogwi and you want to see similar things to it that probably don't meet the exact standards of Yasogwi that I haven't read yet, specifically because everyone says once you read it, everything that you read seems like trash, and I don't want everything I read to seem like trash, so I'm going to wait to read Kakaguri and Akagi and Kaiji and Classroom of the Elite before I go and read Yasogwi. I feel like I was going to say something and I forgot. But yeah, you will probably enjoy Tomodachi Game if you like that stuff. If you like Death Note, you will probably like Tomodachi Game. If you like seeing really smart characters step in and be able to solve any problem and see it as almost a metaphor that no matter how difficult things get, you can always find a way out of it, or you can always trust your friends, or you can't always trust your friends, or you just want to see a bunch of people betray each other and fight each other, not in physical battles, but in psychological battles, this is the manga for you. And I highly recommend it. And the last chapter is coming out in just a couple of weeks. I have a reaction of me reading the previous chapter. And I didn't upload that today because I was going to upload it 2 weeks from now, like right before the final chapter is released. So I'll release it right before the final chapter is released. And that footage won't just randomly disappear, hopefully. But yeah, so final chapter comes out. It's going to be great. Tomodachi Game is almost over, and I think it's the first thing in the smart character debate community that is over, that is finishing after the smart character debate community has already been established. Because stuff like Liar Game and Alice in Borderland and Death Note, those were already finished by the time the smart character debate community came into YouTube and Reddit, and then everything else is still ongoing. So Tomodachi Game, I think, is the first thing that is finishing right now, and all the people in the smart character debate community can sit back and watch something end together. And we're all going to go onto the subreddit of Tomodachi Game and collectively say, where is the chapter? Because, inside joke, every single month, someone is always like, where is the chapter? And someone is like, it's coming out on this day, or it's coming out today, but give it a second. So we're all just going to say, where is the chapter? Right before the last chapter is released, kind of to give it a nice little send-off. Finish it! I probably sound like a crazy person, but that's what happens when your footage gets deleted and you have to make up what you're going to do on the spot. So, thank you all so much for watching this video. Yeah, get in and go ahead and go into Google and type in gambling manga and go and read everything that you find, because it is a wild ride. I know there are tons of parents that will be like, oh, I don't want my children reading this. Yeah, well, it's not for children. So if you're a child, maybe don't read it. I don't know, but regardless, it's not. I think when people hear gambling manga, they literally just think of someone walking into a casino and then gambling their life savings away, or gambling and just making it big somehow. No, the strategic mind games that they come up with to beat these games will make you feel smart for even being able to understand them, and then they will make you feel like an idiot for not ever being able to come up with the incredibly simple ways that they are able to hack into these random games with obscure rules. It doesn't teach you how to break the casino. It doesn't encourage you to go and try and break the casino. It doesn't encourage you to even go to a casino. It just gives you a feeling. A nice feeling that maybe you just did go to a casino and just won a crap ton of money. If that makes sense. The feeling is great. I highly recommend the manga. Like the video, dislike it, don't really care, comment. Hope I don't get in trouble for anything that I said here. I feel like I'm talking on an edgy topic, but hey, I like these manga, and I think a lot more people should be reading this stuff because it is fun. And there are good life lessons in there. There are a lot of bad life lessons, but, you know, we're adults. We can filter that out. So, thanks you all so much for watching. Bye-bye.